Uh, I'm not an expert in logistics or shipping or whatever the topics that we are covering today. I'm not an expert, so I'm not the right person to talk about it. But I can talk about another kind of growth. So that's why generalized I'm thinking. For any college we used to hate all these chief guest address. Most of the time we'll be sleeping. So I'm sure you must be planning to do that, probably. But I always take pleasure in interacting with the future citizens of tomorrow. Because naala ningal ed reethilana valarunnathu, what kind of human beings you turn out to be is going to determine a lot of things on this planet. So that's why I take immense pleasure in interacting with the younger generation. So, in order to take the effort of not letting you sleep, okay, I'm going to make this an interactive session. Can we do that? Yes? Okay. So if there is a cordless mic or something, do you have a cordless mic? Great, wonderful. So I want you to, this is a session, I'm not going to just talk. I want you to think. This thinking in the പറയുന്നത് തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു വളരെ അത്ഭുതമായ ഒരു ആർട്ടായിട്ട് മാറിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. It's a fact, the thinking has become a very rare art. Okay. So അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് ഇന്ന് I want you to think. When I talk, it's not just about listening to me, but actually thinking about what I'm trying to tell. Okay. So now I want you to think seriously and try and answer this question. But ningalellam endana 18, 19, 20 vayasu? Yes? Around that age? 21 maximum? Right? So ningal 80 vayasu vare ee logathe jeevikkanam. Isn't it so? You have to imagine we are targeting, I am targeting 100, I don't know how much you are targeting. Okay, so if you imagine you want to live on this planet for 80 years or 100 years or whatever. നിങ്ങളുടെ വ്യക്തിപരമായ ജീവിതത്തിലും നിങ്ങളുടെ your life on this planet ഇത് രണ്ടിലും okay, both as an individual as well as humanity on this planet, what are the problems you think are going to limit your happiness or reduce your happiness? One alochu parayan pattuvo? Can you just think and share it with me? Can you do that? My question is, by the time you carry on with your life, what are the things you think is going to reduce your quality of life or happiness or health or whatever? Basically, ഒരു നല്ല ഒരു ജീവിതം എനിക്ക് വേണം എന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിനെ തടസ്സപ്പെടുത്താനുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ എന്തൊക്കെയായിരിക്കും? It could be at the level of the individual, societal, international, global, whatever. Can you think of it and say? Anybody volunteers? Yes, wonderful. We have a brave boy here. Good. What are the problems we are expecting to have? Yes, or we are having already. What are the problems? What are we having now? What is going to be a big problem in the future? Inganeyanu I want you to think. Okay, yes.
I will differentiate into two categories.
Okay.
One personal and one I think it's going to affect a lot of people.
Okay.
Around me and internationally.
Okay.
So personally, I think stress.
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 Wonderful. What's your name? Sharath. I'm glad you said the word stress. Thank you. Anything? What the other one?
The other ones would be some social norms.
Social norms.
I won't publicly say it, but there are some social norms that would kind of hold you back. Some social stereotypes. They are still there. It can kind of hold you back. It can kind of get your mentality in a certain point.
Can you give me an example? What kind of social stereotype you're talking about? I love the word stereotype.
relative, right? I won't say completely ugly, but
I mean, this is an open forum.
For me, one thing that kind of segregated to me the section was my mom was forcing me into medicine.
Medicine?
Yeah. She's like a huge doctor fan.
Okay.
And she forced me.
I'm a doctor, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
but I left that profession and came here.
That's the point, right? So
Okay.
my mom kind of forced me into science.
Okay.
I was begging for her to like let me take commerce and really interested in it. And when my performance.
So you mean to say that there are some stereotypical standards set by the society for which you are forced into?
Yeah.
My God. I forgot your name. What's your name? Sharat, I find you to be a very wonderful person with a great insight.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a beautiful insight. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. I think the wisdom that comes at 21 is speaking here. Wonderful, wonderful observation of what we have in our society. The stereotypical standards set by our society, which is forcing us to make some choices. Right? Very true. I love that from you. Anybody agrees with Sharat? Yes? Thank you. Thank you for agreeing. Anything else? One more and then we have very little time. You know, I cannot go on like this forever. Although I would love to interact with you for hours together, but we don't have that kind of time. Anybody else would like to share? Any other insight? My question is, what are the kind of problems we have right now or we are going to have before you die that is going to affect our quality of life or happiness or health or whatever? Yes.
Hi, hello.
Yes.
My
Your good name, please?
My name is Atma.
Atma.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You should thank your parents for such a beautiful name. Yes, please.
The potential weaknesses we face in a society, especially as a young person, would be self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Yeah, like...
They're a very thinking crowd, I think. I thought thinking was a lost art, but somehow you have lost that art.
Yeah, like...
self-doubt. Wonderful.
Like the feeling of not being enough. Like
Wow.
The world is throwing so much things at you and you're not able to keep up with it. And it's quite a stressful thing, especially as a woman. You have to keep up with a lot of things.
Wow.
And especially...
Wonderful. I love this. I love this group of students. I think it's a very, very brilliant group. I think Atma is really getting inside her Atma and she is speaking from her Atma actually. So wonderful. Yes, go ahead, Atma.
And as a woman, my mother always pushed me to be in the medical field,
Okay.
the engineering field, and the business field is not discussed enough. And
Okay.
I have to take an initiative to break out of that mode. And to be honest, it's very terrifying. Like the guidance,
Okay, I understand, but I'm sorry to cut you short, only because we don't have lot of time. But I get your point, but you conveyed a very beautiful point.
Yeah, it's terrifying and it's
terrifying.
exciting to explore that world. And the thing that limits me is myself. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
I'm hoping that in the future I will be a more consistent and a better person.
Great. Wonderful. Well said, Atma. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
So, Atma said a beautiful point. One is the feeling of not good enough, and the only thing which is limiting is myself. And I hope that I can be a better person every day. What is she? You can please have your seat, Atma. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, isn't that also growth? Or it's not a growth? It's also a growth, right? It's another kind of growth, right? Yes? And Sharat was talking about stress. Okay. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ യങ് ജനറേഷനെ ഏറ്റവും ബാധിക്കാൻ പോകാൻ പോകുന്നത് ഈ സ്ട്രെസ്, സെൽഫ് ഡൗട്ട്സ്, നോട്ട് ദ ഫീലിംഗ് ഓഫ് നോട്ട് ഗുഡ് ഇനഫ്. These are the kind of, I would say that, the problems of the mind, isn't it? Yes, the problems of the mind is going to be a very big challenge in future. നമ്മൾ അത് പരിഹരിച്ചില്ലെങ്കിൽ we cannot move forward in any direction for that matter. So let me give you a very small brief exercise. It's only a crash course, okay. I'm only giving you a very short crash course on how to look inside, okay. How to look inside yourself, inside your Atma, okay. So let us just observe, listen to these instructions. It's very simple. When I say close your eyes and start, what you do is you close your eyes, okay, and then you relax yourself and just start to observe your breathing, okay, just the way how you're breathing, okay, how you're inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Anybody has done yoga or meditation before? Yoga or meditation, anybody has done before? No? Not even one? Okay, one or two here, okay. No problem. So then it's nice, I like it. You know, it's a very baby crowd here we have. So just close your eyes and observe your inhalation and exhalation. Okay. And if you're not able to observe how your breathing goes inside and goes outside, just observe the feeling, you know, whether your chest is expanding or your stomach is expanding. Wherever you feel that, you know, while you're inhaling, wherever you can feel the movement in your body, just observe that and just be. Just try to focus on that movement or the feeling of the air going inside or outside. The best way to observe would be to notice the air going through the nostrils. But if you're unable to do that, it's okay. Don't get worked up. Just observe wherever you can sense the movement of air going inside and coming outside. So it is only a crash course, so I can't allow you to be more than for a few minutes. So you just do this for a couple of minutes. So now start. Close your eyes. Relax your body. Keep your body in such a way that, you know, it's in a complete relaxed position. So if you're cross-legged, you're clenching your fist, or there is any tightness in your body, just allow it to let go. Just make it loose. Like, you know how a cloth will be hanging in a hanger. Just let it loose. Okay? Just let your body loose. Be aware of your body. You can give it a shot. Those who don't want to try also can give it a try. It could be life-changing. Just relax. Now, slowly observe your breathing going inside and going outside. So now, don't do anything. Thoughts might come. You might have thoughts. You might have like, what nonsense is she trying to do? Okay, any thought might come. Don't go by the thought. Let it come and go. The moment you are aware that there is a thought, just bring your attention back to your breathing. Just try your best to focus on the breathing and just be with the breath. So I will stop talking now just for a minute. Just for a minute. Just observe your breathing. Okay, so now slowly open your eyes. Just take a deep breath and then open your eyes. Would anybody like to share what you felt in this hardly 1 or 2 minutes that you were able to just close your eyes and observe your breathing? Can anybody share? Would anybody like to share what you felt? How was the experience? Anybody? You can say I didn't feel anything, that's fine. Or even a subtle change, if there is any change you felt. Anybody? No one? I know it's a very short time to observe anything concrete, but somebody would have observed something. No? Nobody wants to share? Yes. Yeah, you can, please. I mean, it can be from the dais also. What did you feel?
I'll tell you because you're giving only 2 minutes, which is not enough.
Which is not enough. We don't have time, yeah.
But when I meditate, I love my body.
Okay.
I love my mind.
No, you're already a meditator. So
I love my sense and all because this is the most valuable thing in my
Okay.
Rest everything is not mine. Including myself.
Okay.
So when I think this, I always keep my mind cool, whatever happens.
Whatever
So
happens.
this is going to be, I'm in the logistics business. There are a lot of stress. I don't call it stress. Stress is something which you are not able to handle.
Handle it.
When
Okay.
I'm able to handle it, it's not a stress. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, but nobody else observed anything. Okay, when you started observing your breathing, was your breathing faster or slower? Slower? That everybody agrees? Yes? So, I mean, it was slower than your original rate of breathing, was it? Was it? Yes. Yes or no? Yes? Okay. So now, my question to you is this. So just by, it was only a 2-minute exercise, just by bringing your focus towards your breathing, okay, the rate of breathing started coming down without your knowledge. Now it's just 2 minutes, so you wouldn't have observed much. But if you do this for another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you will very obviously start realizing that the rate of breathing slowly comes down. It becomes slower and deeper. The breathing, the way that you breathe will change. What is the science behind this? Can anybody explain? What is the science behind this? So many wannabe doctors. Can they explain? I am a doctor. Okay. Do you think anywhere in the medical textbook this would have been explained? Why? Just by bringing your focus on your breathing. The breathing rate changes. The way you breathe changes. What is the science behind that? Isn't that science too? Isn't that science? Or it's not? Do you agree there must be some science behind it? Yes? You don't agree? Think. This session is about to make you think. This is also a science. But this science has a different name. You can call it as experiential science or existential science. Let me not get into that, but this is also a science. And you know what? I don't know if you have heard of all these therapies that come from the Western world. Heard of all these therapies, right? You're talking about stress and all. You know, anybody can guess what is the very famous gold standard treatment for stress in the Western nations? Anybody knows? Stress, depression. There is a gold standard treatment for treating these mental illnesses or mental disturbances, I would rather say. Anybody? Has anybody heard of it? What is the kind of therapy that is given? Anybody heard cognitive behavior therapy? No? Cognitive behavior therapy? If you do psychology, you would know that cognitive behavior therapy. Now, for example, I went to the UK to study psychology, And you have the National Health Service there. I don't know if you've heard of that. So it is the premium health service facilities that are offered to every citizen in the UK. So it's a government-sponsored National Health Service. The gold standard treatment for all mental illnesses is this cognitive behavior therapy. Can you guess the principles, the basic tenets, the basic principles of cognitive behavior therapy, which is so widely followed in the Western nations? And you must have heard all this mindfulness therapy also. Have you heard of mindfulness therapy? Yes? So where do you think these therapies would have originated from? The basic tenets and principles of these therapies, where do you think they would have originated from? Just guess, any part of the world. Just guess, let's play a game. Any guess. Where do you think they would have originated from? Just playfully guess. Huh? Who said something? India. Who said that? Sharat again. Why do you say India? Ancient?
Ancient yogi culture.
Yeah, ancient yogi cultures. Great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sharat. That is a fact. See, all of these standard treatments, protocols that have been developed in the Western nations originated from India. How many of us know that? In a way, we can say that, they took the stuff from India, bottled it in a new bottle and sold it in a different name. We can say that. There's a history behind this. I'll just say very shortly. The very famous psychologist called Daniel Goleman. Okay. So he was a Harvard School professor and he was studying the human consciousness and how to make human lives better. So he was kind of really trying to understand about the human mind. So he came all the way to India. He felt that he'll find the answers in India. He came to India. He learned a lot of things, a lot of techniques and tools and science of human mind from the Indian traditions, and then he took them back, made experiments, and found that following such techniques and tools, especially meditation and other forms of whatever, there are many schools of meditation and stuff. They found that there are significant changes that happen in the human brain while you do these practices. So much so, they say that the aging of the brain is reversed. Those areas of the brain which really matters for your emotional well-being, for being a loving person, or being a a self-controlled, self-regulated, disciplined person. Those centers of the brain which dictate or which influence the well-being of a person, those centers are enhanced, they grow. Whereas those centers which give you stress, which give you negative feelings, they shrink. They say they literally shrink. And they documented this with scientific evidence. So imagine something has a potential to change even the structure of the brain. Don't you think it's a very powerful science? Isn't it so? But how many of us are aware of this science? This aspect of science. Not only we call it superstitious and dogmatic, and we try to label 1,000 different things and then brush it under the carpet, but we feel that this is not science. This is science. It's a different kind of science. For this science, you need a different aspect of intelligence to understand this science. Why I'm saying is that I was not expecting, when I asked you the question, what are the problems that we are going to face in future? You exactly said, you nailed it when you said that, my self-doubts, my feelings of not good enough, my stress, and the way I'm limiting myself as a human being, these are the ones which are going to be problems. Okay? It is a fact. We are going to limit it by our own minds, the human mind. And if you have to overcome these limitations, please give a shot to this science. So you, as young people, you have the entire life ahead of you. You can shape it the way you want to, but shape it with the right knowledge. explore these aspects of science. They come under the ambit of experiential science or metaphysical science or existential science. There are so many literature available. Please open up your minds to all of them. But for that, there are certain things that you need to remember. Number one, I'm really concerned, this generation, your generation is what we depend on to save our future. But unfortunately, this generation is living in an era of addiction. Don't you agree? Yes? But not many of us even realize that we are living in an era of addiction. Atma was saying, as a woman, there is so much pressure from so many quarters to make me feel that I'm not good enough. This is the problem. This entire commercial world has made us believe that, we are not enough. And if we buy this and buy that, we'll be enough. So what has happened is, today's generation has become a brand conscious generation. Owning this brand will make me happy. Owning this phone, this particular brand of phone, is what was going to make me happy. I see a lot of young people who's like, this phone is very much required. How can you not live without this phone? That is not the person talking. That is the, what talking? Addiction talking. It is the addicted human mind which is talking. So I would like to conclude my speech with just saying one unsolicited advice that you people hate, but you have to know this fact also. Being a doctor cum psychologist, I have to say that the current generation, the way we are too much into smartphones, into screen time and into social media time, it's really, really bad. Every technology has its good and bad. But if we are not intelligent enough to differentiate between the good and bad and learn to say no when we exceed the limit and cross into the bad, then we are doomed. So let me give you some scientific facts on smartphone and screen addiction and internet addiction and whatever this kind of technology addiction. When we were young as college kids, okay, we didn't have phones. We didn't even have laptops. We hardly had our own mail ID. We created it somewhere in our 3rd or 4th year of college. The only thing we had was friends, fellow students. So the only entertainment we had was to talk to those friends. And there is a huge difference between the kind of entertainment your human friend can provide and your screen can provide. What is the difference? When you interact with a human friend for entertainment, for gossip, for whatever fun activity that you're doing with a fellow human being, your brain is taking cues from the way the person talks, the way the person smiles, or gives some other emotional expression on their face. So you're looking at the human face. The human face and the tone and the language and the body language, the verbal language, the tone language, everything is getting processed in the brain. This kind of processing takes a particular area of the brain. Okay, there are certain areas of the brain which process this kind of information, otherwise called mirror neurons, because mirror neurons enable you to understand another person's emotions and what they are trying to convey. This kind of processing is very, very important for the brain to have good emotional development. You talked about stress, right? One of the major reasons for stress is because of lack of this processing of information in the brain, because we are not giving work to our mirror neurons by interacting with another human, but rather getting stuck in the phone. I was talking to some of my relative young boys, who are going to college. So I asked them, in the hostel, what do you do most of the time? College days, in the hostel, phone was not there. We were stuck with people. We were used to talk with people. That gave a lot of work for the mirror neurons. So that generation was having a lot of emotional intelligence when compared to this generation. I'm not trying to be, all enda paraya, I'm not trying to sound superior, but it's an unfortunate fact. You as the intelligent generation need to understand the science behind technology addiction. And one more thing that happens is that in your generation, we are bombarded with so much of information. So much of information. And don't think all of this information carry truth. And in this information, the beautiful, the most powerful science to influence the human mind gets buried. Unless you do active search for the information which is actually true for your well-being, you will be lost in this ocean of information. You need to have some kind of a fasting of information, fasting of technology. Do a technology fast, do an information fast, so that you can gain information from your inside. What your heart says, what your mind says. Spend some time with your own self to understand what is the information that your inner world is giving you. So, what I'm trying to say is that we are in a very, very difficult era of addiction. As young people whose future is going to determine the future of this planet, my request is that be the intelligent species to understand this problem and take efforts to take care of the health of your human mind as well as your wonderful, precious human body that you are all given, you are blessed with. So that is the thing I wanted to tell all of you today. I'm really, really happy that you are such a wonderful, gifted student group. I hope that you will really, really change the face of the world by first changing ourselves, and that is yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much.